welcome back to another episode of Crazy D. So another one of the Q&A sessions for these cold fall days that we're now having. Today I just want to discuss with you, I get asked an awful lot by people, hey, I've been looking for a tractor, I just bought a place out in the country, or I just got inherited some small acreage that I'm going to be taking care of, and I'm needing to know what pieces of equipment I'm going to need for this acreage that I now have. So I just kind of made up a list of things that I recommend that you purchase and kind of give you some price ranges that you may find them in. So grab that cup of coffee, guys, and let's sit down and have that conversation today. Nectar of the gods. Okay guys, so there's just a few pieces of equipment that I highly recommend for you guys to have. The first thing you need to figure out though before you buy any equipment is what tractor you're going to have. Don't buy any of this stuff until you have the tractor. You know the old saying, I got the cart before the horse kind of deal? That would be exactly the case here, because you may end up buying a bigger tractor than you expected, or you may end up buying a smaller tractor than you expected to. So don't buy the equipment until you have the tractor. But without that saying, and then also, if you're trying to figure the tractor part out, I do have a video that you guys should watch of like the ones I recommend for in what price range. These are would be the best for your money kind of tractors. So, but the first piece of equipment that you should definitely buy, and you're going to use it probably the most out of all of them, is you need to find yourself a rotary mower or a bush hog mower, they're also called. And it depends, you know, they're going to come in the size of somewhere between 4 foot to 7 foot, you know. A brand spanking new one, so the smaller size, according to J&H, the local dealership over here, they'll sell you one for $4,000 if you buy a brand new one. You can find them used in the range of $600 to $250. Most of the time they're going to probably be closer to the $600 than they are going to be the $250. The $250 ones are going to be pretty much wore out. And the first thing I'm going to recommend you to do when you find the one you think you want to purchase is you need to take the PTO shaft that comes out of that, and I want you to turn it and make sure rock it back and forth. So you make sure that there isn't a bunch of play in the gearbox, because if there's a bunch of play in the gearbox, then it's wore out. And that gearbox is going to cost you almost as much as a new mower to be able to fix. So just a little piece of advice for you there. The next thing I'm going to recommend that you get for your tractor that you're going to use almost as much probably as that mower is you find yourself a nice 3-point blade. Now you can find a nice 3-point blade, a brand spanking new one from TSC or one of the farm supply stores like that is going to cost you about $800. Or you can go and you can search and you can find something like I have a couple on my lot right now that are like $250 and $300. So you can find used ones for much cheaper than new, of course, and they're just as good. So that just kind of gives you a little something to look for there. Again, on those, make sure they're not bent or they're not been warped really bad, so when you put it flat on the ground you still got one side that wants to come up and it's not doing the proper job. Now the next thing up, I'm going to recommend you that if you have a dirt driveway of any substantial length of any kind, you're going to want a land plane, because you're going to have to drag that drive to keep the potholes and the mud holes down and the washboards out of that drive. So you want to find yourself a land plane. Now you can get a brand new land plane from somewhere for $2,000 to $1,000. If you bounce around and look really hard, you'll find a used one from somewhere in the area of $800 to $300. Now I haven't had one on the lot in a while, but they do come up used occasionally, and you just will have to do a little bit of researching to find one used. The next thing I'm going to recommend that you find equipment wise for your place. And this is something you're going to use quite a bit in the fall and quite a bit, but probably mostly in the spring, is you're going to want to find a 3-point mounted sprayer for the back of that tractor. Now, you can get them anywhere from a 100-gallon tank to several thousand-gallon tank. You know, probably 100-gallon tank or a 200-gallon tank sprayer is probably going to be the most useful for you. That's going to be about the right size. You're going to want to find one that you can either fold out a boom, or it has the wand also on it, so you can get along fence rows and get into places and spray for weeds and kill off the little trees before they come up and take over your place. They're going to come with 2 kinds of pumps to run the sprayer. There's either going to be a PTO driven pump, or they're going to come with a hydraulic driven pump. I kind of recommend the PTO driven pump. I've had the best luck for them, but if you're, you know, if either or, whatever works for you is what I'd recommend. So, but the kind of search out there, you can find them in the price range of a brand new one from Orscheln's or from TSC is $900, and I believe it had a 100-gallon tank on it. And the used ones, you can usually pick one up somewhere between $300 to $150. So just kind of look and seek, and you'll definitely be able to find one of them out there. I've had quite a few come to the lot. I don't keep them out there very long when I do get them, but I do recommend that. It'll really help you keep the weeds and the little trees and stuff from taking over your new rural piece of property. The next 2 pieces I kind of recommend for you to have, if you're going to do any gardening or any, you know, maybe work up some ground or something to plant for a deer, for food for a deer stand or something, you want to find yourself a plow. You're going to need to find yourself a plow in whatever base your tractor is, but let's just use for simpleness a 2-bottom, a 214 or a 2-bottom plow. A brand spanking new 2-bottom plow. I called the John Deere dealer to find this out, and they quoted me $5,000 for a brand new John Deere 2-bottom plow, 3-point for your tractor. You can find them used somewhere in the range of $3 to $80. Okay, so $300 would be a really nice one. $80 is going to be one that's pretty rough. And I tell you what, I got one on the lot right now. I'll sell you for $30 just to get it off the lot. So that, you know, that kind of gives you the price range on those. The next thing I'm going to recommend is you're going to want to have a 3-point disc. Now, I did a little digging for 3-point disc. You can get a really cheapy Japanese-made one from Orscheln's for $1,500, or TSC, you know, farm supply store for $1,500, and even as low as $800. But it's not going to last you a fart in a hailstorm. It really isn't. I've seen them come through. They're if you do any serious work with the thing, it's going to come apart from you. And this is the one time I would definitely recommend to find a used plow, because a used piece of equipment is in most cases going to be an older 3-point plow. It's going to be an International, or it's going to be an independent manufacturer, or it's going to be a Ford or an International or something in that line, and they're just way better built. They're just heavy duty, better built. Now, you want to pay attention if it has bearings or bushings, and some of the older plows had a wood bushing, and check those out really closely before you purchase that plow. Make sure those are all good. So you want to have them lift the plow up and then wiggle the gangs of the not plow, sorry guys, the disc, wiggle the gangs of the disc and make sure there isn't a bunch of play and they don't go thump, 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 thump. Then you got really bad bushings and stuff, and that's not a disc that you will want. But, you know, like I said, price, you can, used price on one of those is going to be somewhere between $800 to $250. I've had quite a few on the lot. I usually sell them in the range of $500 to $600 is where they go on the lot, and we usually pull them into the shop, and I have Junior Mint grease them all up, and we change out the bushings and stuff that as needed before they go on the lot. And then the final and last thing I would say would be very handy to have around is some form of a 3-point chisel. Now you can find the long Fortson ones. They're very nice. Very nice setup to come across. Or you can find, there's some other manufacturers of them out there. Now a brand new one of those, when I called and asked John Deere what a small 3-point little, I said a little 5-foot 3-point chisel would cost, and they actually quoted me $1,000 from John Deere, so that isn't too bad actually. But you can usually pick a used one up somewhere in the range of $2 to $150. I got one on the lot right now. It's $150 if you guys are interested. But those are the pieces of equipment that I highly recommend that you get, and you don't need to go out and get them all at once. Get them as you need them. If you have to, because for financial reasons, every spring add another piece, till you have all the pieces that you need on the place. And you may find out that you need other stuff, and if you do, then what I recommend is you just spend the time search lots like mine, where we deal in used machinery. I check farm sales, etc. Actually, I have an entire video set up for that. So when it comes to tractor, go check out the past video on what tractors I recommend. And then if you're curious about how do I find this used machinery, I have a whole video on places where you need to look to find your used machinery. So, but anyways, guys, thanks for coming in, watching this episode of Crazy D's Equipment. We highly appreciate it. If you haven't checked out our social media, please remember we have 2 Facebook pages. We have the Crazy D's Equipment page, so it's just me being Crazy D, and then we have the Omega Ag page, which is the lot, so you can check out and see what pieces of machinery we have out there on the lot. And then also we have an Instagram where I'm posting pictures of all the tractors and stuff that come through the lot and other stuff that I found that I just thought you guys may enjoy. So, but thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time. Time for more coffee.